it's the truth, you know. Clive being responsible for Diddy, teaching Diddy every single thing that there is to know about the ins and out of contracts, music industry, rituals, everything. You learn it from basically Satan himself, you know, one of Satan's best devotees, one of Satan's best homies. You know what I'm saying? Even got to live all the way up till 94 years old. You know what I'm saying? He paid so much blood, so many sacrifices and rituals. He got to live his full life. But guess what? You still got to answer the big God. It's crazy. Let's get into some more clips, y'all.
Why did you let the party go on?
Of course, this is a personal thing. But the Grammys were the next night. You don't cancel. You turn an evening into a tribute.
So you
turn
did a
an
magnificent evening with it.
evening into
Did you give a thought to canceling?
never,
You never thought.
never.
Could
never.
you? Did you ever think?
And the family did not want me to give a thought.
Didn't.
No, no.
Knowing Whitney, I don't believe that she would have said the show must go on. She was the kind of woman that would say, stop everything. I'm not going to be there. You know, I don't know what could motivate a person to have a party in a building where the person whose life he had influenced so enormously and whose life had been affected by her. So they were like, I don't understand how that
I
party
mean,
went
I
on.
had Clive Davis by pure chance in here on Friday night.
Yeah. Somebody said except he called it a tribute to her on camera before she was even found dead. So Clive already knew what was going on. Obviously, when we talk about Clive Davis, the Whitney Houston sacrifice ritual will be the most talked about. Now, some of this stuff I may have to cover up in this video to protect from copyright, but um, the Whitney Houston death will be, you know, the most talked about when it comes to Clive Davis because you know they openly did this ritual and kept the Grammy party going on. That's probably why Bruno Mars never came to the Grammys. Y'all remember Clive Davis recently? It wasn't too long ago because Clive he was sitting on that show. He got that old man pouch. Y'all probably remember he was doing the interview and he was like, Bruno Mars. He could never get him to perform at the Grammys because he keeps escaping them. It's like that's probably why he didn't want to perform. You scared you gonna damn sacrifice him and create another ritual like he did with Whitney Houston. And of course, we already know that story. I think I did multiple videos on Whitney. Um, it's crazy. Let's move on, y'all.
Y'all want me to talk about Clive Davis? Okay, let's do it. But I'm telling y'all right now, this story already took a turn that I was not expecting. So Clive Davis is over Arista, which is over Diddy's Bad Boy records. Now, rumor has it, allegedly, Diddy got on his knees for Clive Davis in 1994, and that's how Bad Boy Records came about. So that would make Clive Davis Diddy's mentor, right? And what they share in common is that both of their artists mysteriously end up unalive. Now, the rumor about Diddy getting on his knees for Clive in order to get Bad Boy would just be a rumor had Clive not come out the closet a few years ago. In 2013, Clive Davis released a memoir called The Soundtrack of My Life. In that memoir, an 80-year-old Clive Davis, at the time, this was in 2013, he admitted to being bisexual. What is going on? So yeah, let's sit and stew on that for a second. Then we can get into all of the mysterious unalivings of his artists.
Now she's right. He did come out in 2013 and admit that he's been bisexual all of his life. So of course, him and Diddy did what they did. And I mean, Diddy, one of those guys, he's been this way all his life, probably even before he got into the industry, but he also got into the industry very young and meeting a guy like Clive Davis, putting him on to everything he needed to know. It was instantaneous for him. Instant. You know what I'm saying? And this is why he was able to get away with stuff for so long. But it's also why he ended up being put away and taught a lesson as well because he's not foolish. You may have had those connections the entire time, but he got outside of himself trying to sue those French billionaires in the spirit world, as in alcohol. Let's keep it moving, y'all. Just gonna watch a few clips from the internet of, some stories about Clive Davis since he's passed away.
You're telling me Clive Davis is the puppet master? That Clive Davis is behind the unaliving of Janis Joplin? That Whitney Houston tried to warn people that Clive wanted her unalived? That Clive Davis is the reason why TLC was broke? And then when TLC confronted him, and you're telling me his friends don't think it was an accident?
Somebody said Clive Davis, Quincy Jones, Barry Gordy. No one talks about them. The snake has 3 heads. Tupac once said Quincy Jones made a move on him. Oh yeah. In audio that has since been scrubbed off the internet, even myself, when I started YouTube, I never could find it. Never could find it. If it's out there and y'all have it, it'd be nice to hear it, but I don't know why it was so important for them to scrub that off the internet, but haven't found it, haven't heard it since I was basically a kid, way younger, early in life. Somebody said, "Oh dear, Clive Davis is just the beginning. It goes much higher than old Clive." Some people got to realize that it don't always go higher than who's at the top. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, as far as the music industry goes, we're talking about the music industry. No, it does not get any higher than Clive Davis. When we're talking about, you know, what he's done, the blood that he has on his hands at the top of the top, it don't get really much higher than that. You know what I'm saying? We talk the music industry. The industry is a bubble, and Clive Davis has sat on top of that bubble for a very long time. Um, Old dude is also sitting on top of that bubble right now. Lucien Grange, you know, outside of him, we know there's a French billionaire. But we're talking about the industry. These people are the faces of the industry. Clive Davis been doing this for a very long time. Let's move on.
In that 1995 meeting in Beverly Hills in the home of Clive Davis, who was responsible for the murder of Whitney Houston, I said it. His days are numbered. And there were rappers there from all over the country. They were invited to the home of Clive Davis, along with members of the CIA, FBI, which they didn't understand why the government was there, including many directors and CEOs of the private prisons throughout the United States was at that meeting in the mansion of Clive Davis. And they were telling these rappers, you need to create songs talking about killing police, calling black women bees and hoes. You need to get more nasty so we can fill our prisons that we're building. Okay.
You know what's crazy during that time? I can recall when that gangster music came into play.
That's it.
And how they, I don't know if the guys rapping it really knew, but they created the atmosphere.
Yes.
But it went from, I remember guys wanting to wear like the African chains around their neck,
Yes.
and dancing in the haircuts, flat tops, Kid and Play,
Flat top, yeah.
Kwame, to the really thugged out and
Yes.
just the gang stuff. And I can recall going into like liquor stores or different places, and all they had was blue and red rags.
Right.
It was just like that stuff was on program.
Mm-hmm.
And Clive Davis was a part of setting that programming into the minds of hip hop. And they did a number. It was successful. Started with the CIA. You go to the Fluish that basically has the most influence in the industry. And you invite a couple of the biggest artists, the biggest groups at that time. Because remember, somebody said it. This is the meeting that Busy Bone spoke about. Remember, there was one of the guys that, crazy, not busy. There was one of the guys that when he was there, he was talking about like he walked out of the meeting. He wasn't down for that shit. Like basically, They were telling you we're gonna use y'all to poison your people so we can fund, these prisons that we've invested in. We've invested in a bunch of these private prisons and we need people to fill them up. And so we're into the psyche enough of rap music and the damage that it can do. We already see y'all are, you know, F the police, this and that. Y'all getting them to come together and go against, the system, go against the police. Shit, y'all can get them to kill themselves. Y'all can get them to have no life. Look, somebody said CIA controlled hip hop. Exactly. That's what it was. They said, we see the influence you have. You can uplift them. Well, shit, actually, we need you to don't do none of that. We need to fill these prisons up. So start making this gangster music, this and that, killing, selling drugs. We don't need y'all to be doing nothing else but that. That's it. So we can become multimillionaires. And Clive Davis was at the head of that. Even if I'm in a just saw somebody said Jaguar Wright warned us. Of course, Jaguar Wright talk about Clive Davis a lot. I think I got a clip from her. But if I'm not mistaken, Jaguar Wright also told that story of Chris Brown and Rihanna where it didn't happen the way that they told us. They said basically they all were at Clive Davis' house and Rihanna like gave Chris something and Chris was mad. I did a video on it. It was like basically where it all happened at. They all met at Clive Davis' house and Jay-Z and Clive Davis, they did what they had to do in order to make it look like Chris Brown beat her. It's crazy. Clive Davis involved in damn near every damn thing. As far as all these stories that we got, and they told us what this narrative was, it was Clive Davis. It damn near all started with him.
They that's he got his whole situation based off of Clive Davis. Clive Davis.
Clive Davis. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So yeah, J Records is Clive Davis.
I think he stepped down now.
Was Clive Davis, yeah.
Yeah.
Who is really one of the absolute legends in the music industry. I mean, that's like Whitney Houston, I mean, he's got a catalog that's insane.
Yeah.
Did you and Clive Davis ever interact at all or no?
Yeah, that's in order for me to sign my deal, I had to sit down at a table with Clive Davis and they had to look at Clive and say, what do you think about this? And he was like, oh man. That's when they signed the check. And then I had to go to like a bunch of parties with Clive Davis, like parties that I didn't even understand. It was just like people that I didn't know who they were, just a bunch of like millionaires and billionaires and houses that didn't even look real. And Clive Davis used to tell me, just you stand right here, put his arm on my shoulder and say, don't move. Everybody come by, they take pictures. Gotta think I'm 16, 17, so it's always still kind of strange to me. Right now, I'm like, yo, Clive Davis, I need to borrow 30 million. I got these apartments. We finna do 10 projects and I'll bring this 30 million back to you tomorrow, man. I didn't realize how much I had to juice.
Oh yeah, he really got money like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clive Davis, like I said, I mean, when you talk about the all-time great music executives, period, throughout history,
that's who helped P. Diddy.
Yeah.
That's who helped Diddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Think about that, y'all. A young Hurricane Chris said he had to sit down with Clive to even get, his deal signed. He had to sit down with the devil. Then you got to go be, you know, you got to go be product now, like paraded around in a sense. Now I'm finna take you to these parties, just like this comment said. Clive went after young black artists, mainly lower class rural areas, the ones who knew nothing about the industry. It was so easy to manipulate and take them around bidders or buyers claiming to be high profile investors. The whole party is like a bidding session, just like the movie Get Out. Exactly. It's exactly what it is. You know nothing about it. I'm finna make millions off of you. You're black. You from the hood. You finna, even if your run is short, you make a couple of hits. I'm gonna make millions. This is how I continue to thrive. This is how I continue to feed, you know, the devil himself. And this is how I will make sure I live as long as possible. And he lived until he was 94 years old because he was able to serve up so many souls.
If you knew how Clive Davis used to torture Luther Vandross.
it might make you look at some of those Luther Vandross albums a little different. You know, like even when we did One's Gotta Go, I went back and I listened to what I had to say about Prince and Michael Jackson, and I tripled down on that. If it could have spared him being a victim, fuck that music. You know, we shouldn't have to naturally expect as artists that we're going to have to be victimized to get ahead. How does something that God gave us that brings so much joy end up in such fucked up shit all the time? I want to be able to look at a young artist and see her grow up and know she never had to have what happened to me happen to her to get a Grammy, to get a sold out tour, to get a movie. That's my end game at this point. Can we make good art without having to hurt someone to do it?
That is not, unfortunately, the way the music industry is ran. Y'all, this is music legend Clive Davis, dead at the age of 94. When you see this picture, somebody you wouldn't, just say you didn't know who Clive Davis was. You saw this, you would not think he would have been a part of the things that he's been rumored to be a part of, right? And yeah, man, it's actually pretty crazy. We are witnessing a time where the music industry is unfolding. I mean, it really has been for a long time now, but a lot of the major players are taking an exit, you know, with Diddy in jail, Clive Davis dead. There's a lot of stuff going on, y'all. So I hope y'all enjoyed that one. This was just kind of off the top of the head. Just like, let's just go ahead and put together like a compilation of a bunch of stuff, including Clive Davis and a lot of the stories. Music mogul, Clive Davis, dead at 94. Black Balloon. And I'm going to see y'all soon. All right. I'm out.